And here we are. Mary Liz Stewart is with me, and we're going to be talking about the 15th Annual Underground Railroad of the Capital Region. You have a long title,
so
I'm
going
to
go.
Big,
I know.
Yes, so tell me, you come on every year to talk about that, and tell us, how is this going?
Oh, remarkably well. And I want to say thank you for having us on again.
Yeah.
The annual conference that is organized by Underground Railroad History Project is in year 15, and we are thrilled. We have new speakers, new workshop facilitators, cultural performance, artists who step forward. We have an AfroDutch history tour this year. So it's a rich experience every single year. New voices, new people.
It seems as though this would be directed, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm probably wrong, at educators.
We like to really address the general public. So we do have some workshops that are designed to meet the needs of educators, but anyone who's interested is welcome to come to any piece of the conference programming. And we do set it up intentionally in, as some people say, an a la carte fashion, knowing people are busy and
well,
have
it's a
lots
3-day
of things.
conference.
Well, it does run across 3 days, but we do set things up so that people can pick and choose what part they can come to, what they'd like to come to, and what they'd like to come and experience.
And this is going to be held at Russell Sage, is that correct?
Friday and Saturday pieces are at Russell Sage. Sunday, we're actually conducting a 3-hour bus tour in the Capital Region.
Oh, really?
And it will focus on AfroDutch heritage. So we're very excited. The woman who is facilitating that tour is part of a group of people from the Netherlands called Mapping Slavery Project, and she's been very instrumental in working with researchers in the Netherlands to highlight the Afro-Dutch heritage in cities in the Netherlands. Now that is being transferred to the Hudson Valley in light of all of the Dutch heritage we have between Albany and New York City. So we have an inaugural tour that will focus just on Capital Region, though, on conference weekend. And in fact, although we haven't finalized details, we are planning to be at Maybe Farm in Schenectady.
Oh my gosh, what a great, and with the Schenectady Historical Society.
Yeah, so excited.
In my memory somewhere, and I could be wrong, weren't the Dutch very heavily into slave trading?
Yes, they were.
And the sugar in the Caribbean and that
all
of that
trade, yes, very much so. And it seems historically we have downplayed that aspect of Dutch heritage, and certainly the Dutch in the Capital Region.
They were traders. They were ship making, and they just moved things and people.
Yeah, and so
they were.
Yeah, and so they weren't in the region as long as the British were, for instance. So as a result, we know a little bit about their experiences here, but their participation in the slave trade, their role as enslavers, was very real and very much contributed to the cultural developments in the Hudson Valley. So we're excited to be able to have this inaugural bus tour to highlight some aspects of that. So it's and the conference itself is really designed for a multi-age, diverse audience. We do have PhD scholars, we have college students under the guidance of college professors who are facilitating workshops, we have artists, we have musicians, we have a drumming workshop facilitated by a group of women who are part of a drumming circle. That's I think it's called a Million Women Drumming Circle, and national or international groups. So some of the local residents are bringing that experience forward. So it becomes for us a way to engage with this history and provide an opportunity to engage with this very rich and inspiring history through a variety of formats, and coming together to hear stories about freedom seekers and abolitionists who haven't made their way into the history books.
What's really disturbing to me is that there's a lot of rewriting of history. And I just read recently where they are calling the slaves migrant workers. And I said, where did that come from? And they said, and that was, I guess, in a couple of history books.
I think, yes. Was that Texas?
Yes. Texas, that was it.
Yes, I heard
well,
that.
Doesn't that where it all comes from? Excuse me, but I digress.
That kind of rewriting is very, very scary
disturbing
to me. It really is, because it really does such an injustice to what the real story was about.
It was a terrible time in our history.
Absolutely.
And yet we diminish it by calling it migrant workers, like they came from across the border in Mexico to seek for new jobs.
Yes,
no,
yes, and
they weren't. That
no.
isn't what happened.
Not at all. Not at all.
Not at all.
Yeah, and the whole institution of slavery, in fact, we do talk about it as an institution because slavery wasn't something that just happened.
It was a business.
It was. It really was. And it had political.
We sold them,
it had political supports, social supports, economic supports, and political supports. That's what comes together to create and sustain an institution. And it very.
I'm so ashamed of that history of our country.
And it's still it's with us today, even though many times we don't want to think about that or perhaps talk about it, but yet the legacy of that mindset of those things, it's still with us.
You can't erase it. You try to.
Right. And that's one of the things that we also like to bring forward in the conference as well, is the relevance of this history for us today.
Yeah.
So that we're not just talking about what happened yesterday or back there, but rather the continuing legacy and how it impacts us today.
Yeah.
And so
it's important to look at that.
Yeah.
And when we talk about the Underground Railroad, those of you who are watching and saying, what the heck is an underground railroad? Is that a subway? No, it's not a subway. It was a way for the slaves that wanted to escape slavery. And they had their own little...
Well, it was a network. Many times it's characterized as a collection of safe houses along routes, and we really say no.
And many whites were part of that.
Yes, there were African Americans who were in leadership positions as well. They worked, alongside of in collaboration with many white abolitionists, and it was, as I say, it was really a network effort. Really, people who decided that this institution of slavery was really unacceptable. It went against the promises embedded in the founding documents of this nation, and so they really believed that they needed to do whatever, engage in various strategies to be able to abolish this institution of slavery.
And amazingly, there's the white slave trade now.
Yep.
That women are being sold and passed around. I mean, it's like, when does this stop?
It's a good question. And we often say that it won't stop until we really are willing to admit what happened back in the early days.
And not call them migrant workers.
That's right, that's right.
Well, if you're interested at all in this wonderful project, and it is an amazing project, and you learn so much, and just to walk through it and just see what's there, and you have so many things added to it. It's at Russell Sage College, and it's for 3 days. It's April
15, 16, and 17.
Which is Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And it's a menu. You can do this, this, and this.
Yes.
So please avail yourself. If you're a scholar, if you're someone who's just interested in this, everyone is welcome. So, and there is a fee. So I'm just so you know there is.
But we keep it very low, and we do offer scholarships as well. So
great, Mary Liz Stewart,
thank you.
And we'll see you next year. I
hope
hope
so.
for the 16th. The 16th.